This is the Sean Hannity Show podcast.
But certainly, we know that there is a small group, and we don't know how big that is. It can be anywhere between 5 and 20% from the people that I speak to, that Islam is their religion, and who have a desire for a caliphate and to institute that in any way possible, and in particular go after what they consider Western norms, our way of life. They are not content enough to have their way of looking at the world. They want to put their way on everybody in the world. And again, I don't know how big that is, depending on who you talk to, but they are willing to go to extremes. They are willing to use, and they do use, terrorism, and it is in the name of a very wrong way of looking at Islam.
Democratic Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez talking about between 5 and 20% of Muslims worldwide being radicalized. Well, you break that down. If you take the number 1.6 billion and you break it down, that's what, between 60 and 60 million and 240 million people that could be radicalized. That's a lot of people. And how do you determine who's who if they're coming from countries that practice strict Sharia law? It's been the question we've been asking all week. Now, Saba Ahmed is with the Republican Muslim Coalition, and she wrote a letter to Donald Trump saying, I've been working with the American interfaith leaders and would love to meet with you and have a constructive dialogue about your immigration and foreign policy positions, etc. And she wants this meeting to take place soon. Anyway, Saba joins us along with Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Saba, have you, when you look at the numbers, do you think that Democratic Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez is right that 5 to 20% of Muslims worldwide are radicalized? That would be 60 million to 240 million people.
I disagree with that number. That is an absurd amount of people that you guys are targeting, but I don't think, when you say radical Islam, I don't know exactly how you define radicals. If you're just talking about terrorists, criminals, yes, they are perverting the teachings of Islam, and we must go after them and use the teachings of Islam to counter against them. But those statistics, I don't know what is your criteria in terms of defining a radical. Well, how are you coming up with those numbers?
In other words, those that support jihad or the use of violence to advance caliphate. I think you know what extremism is. I think you know what Islamic jihad is. I think you know what holy war is. I think you understand the terms we're talking about. Paris, San Bernardino are recent examples. There's a poll out today that nearly 8 in 10 Americans, 79%, CBS News, New York Times poll, that think it's very or somewhat likely in the next few months that a terrorist attack will occur again here in American soil.
God forbid, and I hope, whoever is committing these crimes, they know that there is no justification for their crimes in Islam. Jihad means to struggle. The best jihad is the one to fight against your own self and all evil inclinations. People are misusing the concept of jihad and misusing Islamic terms to justify criminal atrocities. Those have no basis in Islam. Basic teachings of Islam strongly condemn violence, and the rights of other human beings are so important in our faith. God even says, God might forgive the crimes committed against him, but he will not forgive the crimes that you commit against other human beings. And a life is supposed to be sacred. If you take a life, it's as though you've killed all of humanity. I want the terrorists to look into the verses that talk about taking an innocent life is as though you have killed all of humanity, and you will be burnt in hellfire. Quran strongly condemns murder of innocent human beings. What happened in Paris and in San Bernardino is absolutely horrifying. And, we have spoken out against it and condemning it, but I know that more needs to happen. And the only way we can ever win this is if we use the Islamic ideology against the radicals, because there's so much more to the faith than what we are focusing on. We have to take away their faith from them.
Dr. Jasser, I think the numbers are higher than people think. I don't know what the percentage is, but I think when you look at different polls that show support, even Muslims in America, a pretty significant a percentage of people want Sharia over our constitutional government. And that was from the Center for Security Policy. And those that at least agree with radicalism, I mean, that percentage is high too.
And I think the conversation is so important, and as well intended as Saba is, I think she's missing the definition for radicalization is the fact that those who believe in political movements that end up leading in a conveyor belt towards the militant Al-Qaeda, ISIS's of the world. So, just like in the Cold War, Sean, when we did not just say we don't want militant Soviets coming in. We had questionnaires on immigration. Do you believe in the communist movement? Are you a member of the Communist Party? Communism was directly related to adherence to the Soviet mission imperialism. So, globally, this is not rocket science. The Muslim Brotherhood won an election in Egypt. Hundreds of millions exist that believe in the political movement of political Islam and the Islamic State. The Khomeinis that are empowering Assad using chemical weapons on the other side of ISIS are also Islamists, but of the Shia variety. In Pakistan, there's huge movements of Islamic movements. In Tunisia, and Nahda won an election. All of those political movements that use Islam as a political movement should be vetted against, because they see America, they see Israel as the evil enemy, and ultimately they shouldn't, whether they're violent or not. And I think those Muslims who use, the apologetics I agree with in my personal faith, but it is a waste of time, Saba, to continue to reflect and deflect the fact that political movements globally are huge, and our government needs to start empowering Muslims. And I would ask you to sign our declaration of the reform movement of Muslims, that basically says we stand against any Islamic State. We stand against political Islam, the equality of men and women. We want to stand against blasphemy laws, apostasy laws, and we stand against all violent jihad. Until Muslims can sign that, we are part of the problem.
Dr. Jasser, with all due respect, I disagree with you. As a Muslim, I'm trying to get involved in politics here in America. Under your premise, any type of political activity that I do is very radical. You're calling me a radical.
No, I'm talking about political Islam. Will you condemn the Islamic
political
State
Islam? I run Republican Muslim Coalition. It is about Islam. It is about defending Islam.
No. We have an establishment clause. You're confusing. You're intentionally conflating political activity with an Islamic political party. In Arabic, it's called Harikat Islamiyya, Islamic movement that runs.
Whatever you're saying is when you talk about political Islam, you're talking about Muslims who are political.
No, you're intentionally conflating this. Do you believe the Muslim Brotherhood is peaceful, the party in Egypt?
I am not in Egypt. I am in the United States. I'm trying to defend Islam in America, within the United States.
How about the Khomeinis of Iran? Do you think any member of the political party running the entire Iranian government, any member in Iran, do you think they should be allowed to immigrate into the United States?
Dr. Jasser, I have been against a lot of the Iranian deal, and I have been a lot
in terms of our U.S. foreign policies. Should members of these large political movements be allowed to immigrate?
We already have thousands of immigrants from Iran, from Egypt, from the countries that you're talking about within the United States who are American citizens. We have millions of Muslim Americans in this country.
The ideology of our enemies.
Are you asking us to reject Islam? Are you asking us to reject Islam?
That's not okay, there you go. That's the debate. I don't believe it's Islam. Our reformists have rejected the connection of mosque and state. And yes, we do need to separate it, but you're in denial if you don't think we have to reform and separate mosque and state. No different than the founding fathers in America. Our American founding fathers rejected theocracy. It is now your turn as a Muslim and me to reject theocracy. And until we do so, this country is under threat.
Under the Constitution, I am allowed my religious freedoms. I have my due process rights. I have equal protection under the law. I have my own rights just like any other faith group does. And the Republican Party is supposed to be known for its religious freedoms and religious liberty.
Absolutely. The Republican Party, though, is not a bastion for theocrats. It's not a bastion for theocrats. It's a bastion for people who believe in freedom and liberty against theocracy. It's about religious liberty.
And we believe in freedom and liberty. There is no compulsion in religion. We are following Islam. And Islam
You're reading talking points from the Islamic Society of North America. You're not being rational.
You're telling you what I believe in.
The existence of the Brotherhood, the Islamist movements all over the planet. And no American is going to take you seriously with this denial. It's just impossible. There's no rationality to your arguments.
I can do my best. I serve God, and I'm doing the best I can to represent my faith as an American Muslim. people can have their own views. And yes, I don't know if you're a practicing Muslim, how you could be so against Islam.
I've helped build multiple mosques in the United States. We believe, what I'm doing is because I love my faith, and the fact that it has been abandoned due to the denial of individuals like yourself who are in such
you should be supporting
a PR operation. You don't have the love to take our faith back from the theocrats, not just from the violent ones.
I don't need to. We serve God directly. I don't serve any government. I don't serve anyone. I answer to God directly. Islam teaches us there is
if you're so pious,
nobody that comes in
why
between me
attack
and
my
God.
personal piety?
What?
Why attack my personal piety if you're so pious? Because each of us
I'm not.
in God and
You're
practice
questioning
personally.
me and my faith and why I'm getting politically involved and defending Islam. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Just like you have your rights, I have my rights.
You have to make the connection between, look at these kids in San Bernardino. They started back 5-6 years ago listening to the cares of the world that said that Israel was the problem, listening to imams that were saying that America is killing Muslims, etc. That's part
and
of
how
radicalization.
do you plan to solve that problem?
And the fuel for that is political Islam, Islamo-patriotism, the belief in the Islamic State.
No, the only way we can bring back the radicals is through the Islamic teaching. They need to know that the crimes that they're committing are completely against Islam.
For the Islamic State or against it? Which Islam?
The Islam that we follow every single day.
Which one? Whose?
The one that condemns murder.
Which one are you choosing? The one of the Saudis, the one of Khomeini, the one of the
none of
Morsi who was running the Brotherhood?
American Islam. No, none of them. We are following American basic Islam. You answered to God directly.
That's a figment of your imagination. American Islam is run by Muslim Brotherhood legacy groups today all over the country that are petrodollar infused by the Qatar Foundation and other global Islamist movements that are dominating our community and from which you're taking talking points from.
No, I am not. I'm trying to explain to you my faith and my values and what I believe in. And I am sorry, but I just feel like I don't know what kind of Islam you're practicing, but if you're going to be questioning my faith and how that I'm getting talking points from other people, I pray and I'm trying to tell you that this is what I believe in. And unfortunately, you're trying to bring in all kinds of
the monolithic view of Islam, whether it be from Hillary, that it's all peaceful, like you're trying to say, that the violence is just sort of a crime problem, or be it from Mr. Trump, who says that all Muslims are the problem. Both monolithic views are a dead-end pathway that prevents the reforms
So what solutions are you
need
proposing? What solutions do you see for America? We face serious national security challenges. Unless you address
So our solution is to sign our declaration that says that all Muslims should stand against against a theocratic state of political Islam and Islamic states, be they the Islamic Republic of Iran, Pakistan,
of course we stand against Islamic
State. Mixture of mosque and state.
Sure. Well, send me a copy of your declaration. I'll look into that as well. But as far as my faith is concerned and me getting involved politically, I think I have a right to do so under the Constitution, under the laws of this country. I love America and I love Islam.
That right away, but we need to be honest with the American public about the problems and the fact that Sharia in any government, institutionalized Sharia, is bad, that we need to separate
Dr. Sharia means the way we follow Islam, the way we pray every day, the way we fast, that's Sharia. That is, every day we practice Sharia. You're telling when
personal
Frank
Sharia,
says,
not in government.
Sharia,
how about cutting of hands? How about the women getting half a vote in the court? No, and
we're not doing that. Quran tells us to respect the law of the land.
But
we are respecting...
Okay, the law in Saudi Arabia is oppressive to women and religious minorities, isn't it?
And that is wrong. It's wrong.
But it's under... The immigrants. So if the immigrants coming in, bringing in the laws of Saudi Arabia, that doesn't become an insurgency in this country?
It doesn't become a law in this country. We already have millions of people from those countries. It has not become law to date, has it?
And until we start filtering against political movements that believe Sharia should be the cutting of hands, the abuse of women, all these other things that are part of Sharia, we are allowing insurgents to come into the United States of America.
All right, we're going to have to leave it at that. Thank you both for a pretty powerful debate. 800-941-SEAN, our toll-free telephone number. You want to be a part of the program.